The 1, 5, 9th aspect of nakshatras are important to consider, and we'll tell the rules of why it is so. You'll find out in a minute. Check your ascendant. Number 1, ascendant angle, the cusp of your ascendant, whatever planet is close to the ascendant, especially if it is Rahu, Ketu or Jupiter are close to that cusp, close to your ascendant angle. That's the first rule. Number 2, if Rahu or Jupiter are your Atma Karaka, we shall speak about this much later on. Number 3, if Rahu and Ketu are in 1-7 axis, the first and the 7th axis. Number 4, if other planets are in conjunction with Rahu, Ketu or Jupiter in specific nakshatras, the focus being on specific nakshatras. And we'll deal with all the 9 types of nakshatras here, really. Number 5, and the most important, if you have an exchange of lordship between the lords of nakshatras and or the dominance of one ruler of nakshatras in your chart. For example, if you have Mercury and Moon exchanging lords, okay, and then you have Mercury dominated nakshatras, this will be important. And if Jupiter is in that particular nakshatra of Mercury, you see what I'm saying? So you got to check which the ruler of the nakshatra is. We have 9 types basically, 9 classifications of 3 nakshatras each, which makes it 27. So let's get into it. So if you're looking at the chart, you see Rahu as 5th and 9th aspects. This is the 5th aspect of Rahu. We are taking 1st and 7th axis as an example. This is a blank chart, any chart, okay? So Rahu, if it sits here, 5th aspect is looking at the 5th house, and 9th aspect is looking at the 9th house from the 1st. So this is being 1, this being 5th, this being 9th. In a similar way, if you see Ketu on the other side, because it's diagonally opposite, it will sit on the other side. Its 5th aspect is the 11th house from the 7th house, and its 9th aspect is the 3rd house. This is how Ketu will behave. If you take Jupiter, if it's sitting in the 10th house, for example, its 5th aspect is the 2nd house and 9th aspect is the 6th house. So this being the 1, this being the 5, and this being the 9. This is very important to consider. Why do we say so? Because now if you see 90% of your chart, whoever your chart is, wherever Rahu, Ketu and Jupiter are placed, just these 3 points have a dominant influence on the rest of the chart. Apart from these blanked out ones, which you see in the original color, Rahu has impact on these brown houses, Ketu has impact on these light brown houses, Jupiter on these yellow houses in our example. This is the singular reason why it's very, very crucial for you to understand these videos, okay? And I will get into one by one of the nakshatras after this introduction. But before that, we shall consider for the purposes of this study, Rahu as the point of focus and drive, where you want to go in this lifetime. Ketu as past life conquered territory, or your karma which you have already learnt and knowledge and finished. Ketu brings all the past life into this life. So whatever you learnt, experience and knowledge, whatever you are already an expert in, is Ketu. Jupiter as the point of wisdom, where you need to take assistance of, okay? Consider it like that in this particular aspect. Now let's get into the nakshatras. Now let's talk about the 159 code of Saturn-ruled nakshatras, which are 3 of them again. Beginning from Pushya, going into Anuradha Nakshatra, then going into Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. There you can see the white triangle. And it moves once again through 4 padas, starting from going into Leo in Navamsha, okay, and then going into Virgo in the Navamsha, in all 3 cases, right? We are talking about 1, 5 and 9 aspects, this white triangle. Virgo or Arthapada being Saturn is the highest pada of each nakshatra of these, which indicates something we shall see soon. Now, 3rd pada goes into the Libra Navamsha and the 4th pada goes into Scorpio Navamsha. Now, what are the commonalities we can see here? First of all, we need to see what Saturn represents. Saturn represents, once again, slow and root work, the daily routines, the work. Saturn also tends to store all the karmas. It has a difficult time letting go of stored stuff, right? Because that's the reason why you see the third place from Saturn always is a difficulty, because the third place is Pisces, which is letting go of stuff. Saturn has a difficult time letting go of things. It's just a storehouse. It knows how to store stuff. And Saturn-ruled nakshatras are always falling in water signs, as you can see. Pushya nakshatra is the heart of Cancer, then going into Scorpio, and then ending in Pisces. So the 19-year Saturn Mahadasha, you will play out this particular rhythm, and you will learn these lessons and carry out these lessons. Okay? Let us see how they play out and why they play out that way. Why Saturn, being even the karaka of daily work and routines, why is it still falling in the emotional signs and in the Arthapada, which is the Virgo, being the highest exaltation of Saturn? What is then it is asking you to do? What is the code here? Saturn is asking you to find that emotional connect in order to work for others. Saturn is the man of the masses, the common people. So this white triangle here, especially if Jupiter, Rahu or Ketu is situated in one of these points of this white triangle, becomes more so. It's all about the common people. It's all about working for the common people in a daily routine kind of fashion, Virgo kind of fashion, sixth house kind of fashion, Artha kind of fashion. Okay? Now let's see the general characteristics of all these three nakshatras. So Saturn, like we discussed, is the slow movement of time, slow movement of everything. Is a slow worker. It's the common masses. Therefore, it carries to the general theme of these nakshatras as well. But why it is an emotional science, we shall see later. General characteristics are, Saturn is the storehouse of all karma, like I said. Saturn only knows to store stuff. All the good and the bad and the ugly that you have carried out all through past lives is stored here. It's a container. It's a storehouse. And if you're born in these nakshatras as the ascendant, or if Rahu, Ketu or Jupiter sits here, it's a dominant portion of your theme this lifetime. And now you can give out this karma out to people, because Saturn is a karaka of common people. You need to give out stuff to common people if you are in one of these nakshatras. Remember that. Number 2, the highest pada is the Virgo, which we shall see in the next slide. Meaning a lot of focus on work and daily routines. Think Virgo, think sixth house, what you do daily. Saturn is the karaka of daily work. That's why the highest exaltation of all these three nakshatras fall in the third pada. The second pada, Artha, which is Virgo. One of the other challenges here could be there is a dryness of emotions that can become a theme due to workaholism, cynicism and melancholy. All these three words, workaholism, being a workaholic, cynicism, critical of everything, and melancholic, general melancholy, are the traits of Saturn itself. And the highest exaltation is in second pada. Put all these three things together. I want you to start thinking along these lines. So Saturn, highest pada being the second, going into Virgo in each one of these. Saturn being melancholic and a storehouse of karmas, and yet being in emotional moksha houses. Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. What does this mean? Let us see now. So there's the white triangle of Saturn-ruled nakshatras. So you can see we begin with Pushya in Cancer, First nakshatra in Cancer, second nakshatra in Scorpio, and third one in Pisces. All water signs, all moksha signs. And Saturn is sitting there, who's a dry person, devoid of emotions, more of a workaholic. And that workaholic portion shows up in the domination of these three nakshatras in the Arthapada, like you can see highlighted there in green. In Pushya, it goes from Cancer to Virgo. All three Navamshas going into Virgo should give you a hint. In Anuradha, going from Scorpio to Virgo. In Uttara Bhadrapada, it's going from Pisces to Virgo, which means Saturn is interested in working through a puzzle. Sixth house is a house of daily work. Think of daily work. Okay, that nature of Saturn, so to speak. So Pushya, what does it stand for? It's coming in emotional signs, so it must be obviously having something to do with emotion, all these three. Pushya is more of patience, wisdom, kindness, optimistic by nature. Think of 6,000, think of work. Okay, they are dependable. They are generous for the community. Like I said, Saturn is a karaka of doing things for others. If planets and points are in Pushya, or Rahu, Ketu, Jupiter in this case, in this triangle, is in Pushya, you need to work for a community. They are very futuristic. They make great hosts. They are forgiving. They love to share with people. Once again, that's the nature of Saturn. The nature of Saturn, hidden nature of Saturn is shown in this Saturn Nakshatras. If you're not following this already, nourishing speech and voice, universal compassion. Imagine Saturn stands for that. Teaching and nourishing children. Pushya is a nakshatra of teaching. Children, especially if it's going into 5th house, for example. Life lesson, don't hold back action thinking there isn't enough knowledge or wisdom yet. Both effort and knowledge are necessary. See there? Virgo being highlighted of Saturn. Don't hold back action. You must do some work here. Pushya people must teach. They must nourish the community. That's the idea. Saturn loves to do things for the community. Let's come to Anuradha. Friendship, love, intimacy of heart, depths of emotional bonding. This has more to do with love, isn't it? Because it's in the Scorpio part of love, devotional love. Fulfillment of promises, universal love, diplomatic. So in Anuradha, they make good diplomats. They must learn to lead a team. Saturn loves to work in a team. It's a team player, so you got to pay attention to that here. Humanitarian. See, Saturn is very humanitarian in nature. Life lesson, merging needs bond of love to be aroused to the zenith point. So you need to merge with the collective, to work with the collective in Anuradha Nakshatra. Yes, last one, in Uttara Bhadrapada, going into from Pisces to Virgo, the exalted part. Where does emotion come here? Realizing true emotional fortunes of life. They can be procrastinative, they can be very passive. Saturn is very slow. Passivity comes there. Sharing knowledge with the public. See again, Saturn theme. Occult with action. You must not get lost in internal turmoil, especially Pisces going into Scorpio in Uttara Bhadrapada can result in that. Okay. Now, finding emotional connect with external brings true spiritual essence inside. Because this is in Pisces, want spiritual connect. But finding that emotional connect with others, Virgo, with your work is necessary in Uttara Bhadrapada for it to shine. Are you following this? I hope you're following this with me here. Therefore, this white triangle of Saturn, which goes from Pushya to Anuradha to Uttara Bhadrapada, and if Rahu, Ketu are sitting in it, you bring in more from past life. If it's Ketu, if it's Jupiter, it is asking you to provide that wisdom, especially Jupiter in Pushya, becoming exalted in Cancer. especially if it's Mars in Anuradha, exalted, or Ketu in Anuradha, exalted. Especially if it's Jupiter in Pisces, most exalted. Okay, but there needs to be some connect with external. There needs to be a teamwork. Saturn in the Saturn-ruled Nakshatras in this 19-year Mahadasha that you will go through is signifying make an emotional connect with people and work daily. Simple. Next we shall do Mercury Nakshatras, the last of the Nakshatras. Take care, be safe, share and comment if you have finding something out of this. Bye-bye.